All right, we are open up to the next clean page in our math notebook for today's notes. So today's notes we are titling 14.3 Solve Problems Using Ordered Pairs. And today's date of 12/11/2020. 14.3 Solve Problems Using Ordered Pairs. 12/11/2020. 14.3 Solve Problems Using Ordered Pairs. 12/11/2020. Also, please make sure your masks are covering your noses and your chins. So, I know some people are still getting this written down. The first coordinate grid we're going to have on our notes, you will be drawing as well. The second one, you don't have to draw it, but it's going to be on my notebook so that you can see it on the screen, okay? So technically, you only have one grid that you'll be drawing today. The second one, you're going to use as a reference, okay? Give me a thumbs up when you have this written down. Thank you. Helps me see how much longer we need or if we are able to move on. Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for keeping your voices off if you are done. That's super helpful to everyone taking notes. All right. So first thing that we are going to do, we're going to write down the problem for our example. So our example says, Allison can hike 2 miles an hour. At that speed, how far would she walk in 7 hours? So go ahead and get this written down. You don't need to talk, just need to write.
With ordered pairs?
Yep, you'll see what I mean. You'll see what we're going to do. Allison can hike 2 miles an hour. At that speed, how far would she walk in 7 hours? Voices out. Some of you might be able to do this in your head, but that's not what we're practicing today. We're practicing using ordered pairs to help us solve problems. Jack, why are you talking right now? Thank you. Okay. So this example problem is basically is just like some problems you will see on your homework tonight. That is why we are practicing it. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up when you have this written down. Awesome. So today we're practicing being given a word problem like this and using a coordinate grid and ordered pairs to help us figure it out. And this is how like in different professions, they graph data. You know, they can do it in their head, but they want a visual so that they can see like trends and how numbers go up and down and if there's a pattern to them. So they will graph their data. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be graphing our data to help us solve the problem. I'm going to give you another moment or two. I see some people finishing up the word problem. Perfect. Go ahead and get that finished up. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. I'm going to move this up so we can still see that word problem. So you guys, what you're going to see, we're going to have a coordinate grid that doesn't have any points on it yet because we will be putting points on it. And then you're going to see a table with ordered pairs and some directions. Yep, I'm going to show you. So, yep, this is the graph you are going to write down. The second one we're going to have, you won't be writing down. So you just have this one. So, I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I just want you to look at it first. Don't start writing until I tell you to. Capiche? All right. Because I'm going to explain everything. So I need voices off. So, on your homework, you are going to have a graph, a table, and directions. So, I'm going to explain. You can see over here we have this coordinate grid. It's titled Allison's height. Yep, that's okay. Don't write it down yet. Allison's height. So we can see, we can see that our y-axis, labeled y, this is the distance walked, or miles. The x-axis, x, that's the time that it was walked, in hours. So if we look over here, we have a table. So we can see the time, so 1 hour, and the distance. So in 1 hour, she walked 2 miles. In 2 hours, she walked 4 miles. In 3 hours, she walked 6 miles. So what axis is my time on, 5th grade? Which axis?
It's on the time is on the x-axis.
The x-axis. So these numbers on time, they match up with our x-axis. See, time and time. So our distance then is on the y-axis. So distance and distance. So these numbers on the bottom row match up with our y-axis. So we are going to follow these instructions. 1, plot the ordered pairs from the table. 2, draw a line to show the pattern. Now, should we just be randomly drawing a line, or what should we use to help us? A ruler, something with a straight edge. And then 3, you're going to extend the line to where the x coordinate is at 7. So start with getting your coordinate grid, your table, and the directions written down. Then I'd like you to complete those steps to the best of your ability. And I know this will take a little while, and that's okay. You go ahead and get started with writing it down, and then solving 1, 2, and 3. So focus on getting the table and the graph written down. This is the only graph you're going to have to write in your notes today. And then you can get that. In 5th grade, if you use a straight edge, that can help you with your coordinate grid as well, if you want it to. And notice again, I use my notebook lines for the lines that go from left to right. Doing great, fifth grade.
And then, I just feel
Fifth grade's doing great. One thing I would recommend whenever we're given like a table with numbers, and it doesn't say like X and Y, what I like to do is next to my table, make sure I don't forget which numbers are for the x-axis and which ones are for the y. So my x-axis is the time walked. So next to time in the table, I'm going to put an X. Then the y-axis is the distance walked, so next to the distance I'm going to put a y. That way I know when I'm graphing, okay, this 1 is my x-coordinate, this 2 is my y-coordinate. This 2 is my x-coordinate, this 4 is my y-coordinate, this 3 is my x-coordinate, this 6 is my y-coordinate. So whenever you have a table like that, taking a moment to label by the table which numbers are x and which are y, that is super helpful. And that way you don't get mixed up when it comes time to plot. I want to one like this, right? Then we're supposed to extend it until the x-coordinate is 7. And then I like that.
All the way over.
Yes. Voices should be up. Most people are finishing up. Ready to rock. All right, fifth grade, let's look at this. These are some of my favorite problems when we get to use a coordinate grid to help us find an answer. And I know a lot of you could have done this in your head, but this goes to show what a lot of different professions do to show patterns in data. So, if you're reading a book, please put it away. If you are focused on something else, please put it away. Jack P., I'm going to ask you to hold on to your ruler, please. So, Philip, put your book away, please. Awesome. Let's look at this together. I'm going to use my pink pen because that seems to stand out pretty well on the smartboard. So, if I follow number 1, plot the ordered pairs from the table. I'm looking up here, and I already labeled time is on my x-axis, and distance is on my y-axis. So, my x-coordinate for the first point is 1. My y-coordinate for the first point is 2. So, 1, 2. If I go to 1, 2, that's here. How many plotted your first point here? Awesome. Then my second point then would be 2, 4. Go to 2, up to 4. How many plotted your second point here? Awesome. Then my third point is 3, 6. So I'll go 3, 6. How many of you plotted your third point here? Nice work. So I followed step 1. Step 2 said draw a line to show the pattern. Now remember, we talked about this in our homework when we were correcting it. You should be using a straight edge. Now I happen to have a ruler. So I'm going to make sure my line is going to go through the middle of all 3 of my points. And I'm going to draw a line through them. All right, how many of you drew a line to connect your 3 points? Nice work. So I've completed step 2. Then step 3 said extend the line to where the x-coordinate is 7. You may have been thinking, what on earth does that mean? It means we want our line to keep going until it intersects with the x-coordinate line, which is here. So until it intersects with my last line. So I'm going to line up my ruler again, make it as close to the original line as possible. Now, if you didn't completely space out your lines perfectly, which mine are a little not perfect, that's okay. And we are going to draw our line through. Now, does my line intersect with 7 as my x-coordinate, 5th grade?
Yes.
Yes. So, what that means is, our question was, Allison can hike 2 miles an hour. At that speed, how far would she walk in 7 miles? Since we extended this line, we can see the trend or the pattern. So when Allison hikes for 7 hours, that means she is going to have walked 14 miles. So our data shows us where or how far she will have hiked in 7 hours by extending that line. Now, I know a lot of you could have done this in your head, but it's really helpful when you can have that visual to show the pattern in your data as well. Jack L. Yes. Exactly. So coordinate grids are used for a lot of different reasons, and that's why it's very important to be able to not only make a coordinate grid and plot points, but also be able to look at a line like this and be able to determine, okay, so wherever the line is, that kind of tells me how many miles Allison hiked and how long it took her. So then at 6, when she walked 6 hours, that means she had walked for about 12 miles. And at 7 hours, she had walked for about 14 miles. So now we are able to read the data. Okay, quickly, I'm going to show you another problem. You do not need to graph this or write this coordinate grid. Okay, you're going to just look at it on the screen. So how many miles can Allison walk in 7 hours, 5th grade? 14 hours. Nice job. Okay, so for this one, again, you are not writing this. You're looking at it. So for this practice problem, it says, find the missing coordinates and tell what the point represents. So you can see we have a graph here. The title is elephant weight. So you can infer that this graph is all about how much elephants weigh. When we look at our x-axis, what is our x-axis labeled? What's it labeled? Age in months. That's important. Not years, months. What's our y-axis labeled? Weight in pounds. Hello, Mrs. Roach.
answer thank you something?
Yes.
Okay. Will, you think that if we are able to play basketball, did you talk to your parents about it at all? Yeah, I talked to my Yes? Okay, did you happen to bring back any of the funds today? No. Okay, so I'm just checking and I'm gonna give them a call. Okay, so I'll call and ask. I'll let you know in a minute if I have you in. Okay, so fifth graders that I do have, Drew, I think yours that email to us. Philip, that yours email, Richie, your mom is bringing one. Yep. Addie, yours got turned in. Joey, yours is turned in. I think that was everybody that was interested. So Will, I'll just tell your mom you got it. At this point, it looks like everybody's doing that. Oh, no, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Thank you guys for.
Thank you, Mrs. Roach. Yeah. All right. So let's get back to our problem. We said the x-axis represents the age in months, the y-axis represents the weight in pounds. So fifth grade, if we look at this first point, the 6 at 300, what does that point tell us then? Raise your hand. What does that point tell us? 6 and 300. Turn and talk with the person next to you. What does that point tell us? Yep, turn and talk. What does it mean? Hi. Go up to Mrs. Meaden and tell her that Mrs. Roach just stopped by our classroom and you actually are interested in basketball. Go tell Mrs. Meaden.
So what would I tell her? Interested in basketball?
To let Mrs. Roach know that you are interested in basketball as well.
Okay.
And yep. 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, fifth grade, who can tell me what does this first point tell us? What does it represent? What does that point represent, Allison? Oh, okay. So this is the coordinate 6, 300. So at 6 months, it weighs how many pounds? 300. Yep. So this is a coordinate, Allison. Do you see how the 6 and the 300 line up for that point? So it's 6, 300. I like that you said that though, because there were probably other students who were thinking the same thing. Thank you. So fifth grade, if this point means at 6 months, an elephant usually weighs about 300 pounds. At 12 months, how much does it weigh? Raise your hand. At 12 months, how much does that elephant weigh? Richie.
12,900.
So that's exactly what Allison and I just talked about. This is the coordinate, Richie, 12, 900. So at 12 months, it weighs 900 pounds. Let's skip all the way to 24 months. At 24 months, how much does that elephant weigh? Elena?
In between 1,500 and 1,800.
If we look at our coordinate, I like that you noticed, Elena, that it's between 1,500 and 2,100. If we look at the coordinate, at 24 months, it weighs how many pounds, Elena? 1,800 pounds. Now, we have a point here in red. Does it have coordinates?
No.
No. That's what we need to figure out. I want you to turn and talk with the person next to you. What are the coordinates for this red point? Turn and talk. What are the coordinates? Yes. Ready to rock? Ready to rock. Jack P. at your desk, please. Who can tell me what are the coordinates for this unknown point? What are the coordinates for this unknown point? What are they, Philip?
18 months and 1,500.
So it would be 18. And what punctuation do I need here? Comma, 1,500. And what do I need around it? Parentheses. All right. If this is 18, 1,500, turn and talk. What does that point tell us? Turn and talk. What does it mean? Three, two, one, zero. Let's try to say it together, what that point means. So think about how you would say that, starting with the word at.
Sorry, Max Munson, we had you on here as the limit around grade. Do you think you're interested? Well, there was an interest form that people said, yes, I'm interested, but then some people haven't turned in their permission slip. So do you think, should I give them a call to see if they want you to play? Do you want me to or no? Sure, I'll give her a call. Okay, thank you.
All right, so on the count of three, let's say it out loud, beginning with the word at. How would we describe what that point means? 1500. 1, 2, 3. At 18 months. Yeah, at 18, nice job. We all have a different way of saying it. At 18 months, our elephant weighs 1,500 pounds. Nice work today, 5th grade. Nice work. I want you to have your workbooks ready to circle some numbers for homework.